I'm gonna do adjust the valves on the bike today. I'm not gonna film taking off most of the stuff. There's a lot of videos out there already, but basically seats need to come off, tank, both side shrouds, and remove the radiator. You don't have to actually remove, you just have to take it off the top mount and just let it hang. That way you can get access to the front cylinder. Also the pair valve and the throttle body needs to come out, and the airbox underneath the gas tank. Okay, here's the seats and the tank, airbox off. Also the shrouds, I need to pull these velocity stat or these intake tubes out. So what I'm going to do next is pull the ECU. It's not necessary, it just makes getting in there a lot easier with these out of the way. Also the throttle body, it's not necessary, but it's just a lot easier, especially from the last time I did it. This is save you some time. Also the pair valve, we just have to disconnect it from here and on the other side. Same 2 bolts. Probably about it. Stay tuned. Another thing to look out for is watch out for these O-rings. The airbox. Just make sure they don't drop out. So I'll put a piece of tape over here just so they can stay in until I can do a throttle body. So if you're looking at it from the top, it's gonna sit in the bike just like this. So there's a few connections you have to remove. This connection for the front and this connection on the back. You already have this fuel line already taken off from when you remove the tank, and then you have the 2 injectors and then the servo motor connection at the bottom. This one's a little difficult to get to because it has a cover, so you have to get the cover off and then you get access to the clip. But yeah, just wrestling it with it for about 10 minutes, comes off. Also these intake boots, just loosen up the top and the bottom. Sometimes the boot will come off like this one did. So what you need to do is just kind of wiggle it out, and then whatever, you know, if it comes off with the boot, it's fine, just put it back on. And it only goes on one way because it's notched at the bottom here. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I let the radiator hang. There's 3 bolts for the ABS, or 2 bolts for the ABS pump here, and 1 that sandwiches between the radiator mount, and then there's 1 radiator mount on the other side, and 2 on the bottom. See if I can get you guys down there. Right there, 2. So you loosen those up, and what you want to do is basically just slide this whole assembly over on this side, and then on this side slide it back and just let everything hang by the hoses. See, that gives you a little bit more room to get into there, so you can remove the spark plug and fan connection. Actually, I think we can leave it on. Okay, at this point we're going to be ready to start removing the spark plugs, connectors, and taking off the valve cover. You don't need to take off both spark plugs, one in the middle and one on the end, unless you're going to change them. What I usually do, last time I adjusted my valves, I changed the spark plugs. The center one is a iridium. I mean, that thing can probably last 50-75,000 miles. You probably don't even need to change it, but it's brand new. My old one didn't look too bad. This one right here is just a standard run-of-the-mill spark plug. You should probably change this every other valve adjustment. Both of these were new, so I'm not going to swap them out. So I'm going to do, since we need to rotate the engine to check the valves once you get the cover off, I'm just going to take the outer spark plug off. That way I'm not fighting against compression to spin the engine over. So if you don't already have one of these, you should get one. It saves so much time, and it gets into tight places like this. Just going to show you how I remove this back cylinder valve cover. So a ratchet's just like a normal ratchet, and then you could just buzz it off. So crack it loose. Okay, so I have the screws taken out for the valve covers. Now we need to access the crank bolt. So what you're gonna need is 14mm hex bolt. I just got this from AutoZone. Let's pull this plastic plug out. And then once you're in there, the crank bolt is a 15mm. I believe you could probably get away with a 14. I used a 15 last time, and it's pretty snug on there. And we'll use this to rotate the engine. Okay, so to access the crank lock, you need one of these bolts. It's this is CJ Designs CJ0CLT crank lock tool. It's just a standard grade 8 bolt that's been ground down to a point. What this does, it pushes up a little divot against the crank and locks it in place. So there's an access hole right here. So you need to take this off. I think that's a 35. Yeah, that's a T35. Let's get that on there and buzz that out. So this one's bigger than the others, and you can see it has a washer on the end of it. So that's how you know it's for the crank. So what you do, you tap this guy in there. Okay, you're gonna put it in there until it bottoms out, and then just back it off a little bit. Maybe about a turn and a half. Because we're gonna need to find top dead center, but we'll go up to the cams first and look at it there. Okay, so this back cylinder, it's gonna be a little tricky to get out, so I'll just show you how I do it. If I remember, I think it slipped out of the back. Let's see, because you got to make it over the cams, over the cam gears and chain. Yeah, just slip it out back. Been a little while since I've done this, but I'm just gonna leave it there. Okay, let's go around to the other side. Okay, so there's two dots on the cam. You could probably see one right there. You have to align that to this flush surface. So what you need to do, turn the crank. It's going to be a little difficult because we have to turn it from the left side of the bike and eyeball it on this side, and then what we do, we lock it in over here. So this is a 15 millimeter. Okay, and then the engine spins counterclockwise, so you're gonna rotate this way. And a good way to cheat to get it to top dead center is when the cams, both cams face outward. It's when you know that you're close. Okay, so it's gonna be the exhaust stroke. Okay, see that mark coming around? I hope you guys could see this. Boom. Okay, see how both cams are pointing out here and here? That means both valves are closed and we can go ahead and do our check. Okay, so the spec is 0.10 millimeters through 0.15 millimeters. So bottom of the spec, top of the spec. So you want to get it as close to 15 as possible. If 10 doesn't fit, that means it's too tight. We might have to go up a couple shim sizes. So I'm going to start off with 10, and your intake cams. You know it's the intake because this is where your airbox and throttle body's go in. So this is the intake. Exhaust is on the side where the exhaust is. So let's start off with 10 to see how we go. So I hope you guys can see this. There's a finger follower. So you want to slip it in between the finger follower and the cam. Okay, and you want to feel a slight drag. So this one is good. Let's check the other one. It feels good. Let's try 15. Okay. 15's good. Slips in there, no problem. This one's a little tight. Try 13. 13's a little tight, so I think this might be 12. So it's still within spec, but I'll adjust it to get it back up to 15. So I'm just gonna go calculate the shim size for this one and then go the next shim size down. So if it's a 200, I'll go 195. They come in increments of 5. Okay, so here's a little chart I made. You have your front cylinder, and then you have your rear cylinder. It's chicken scratch, but I can read it, so that's all that matters. So on our cam gear side intake valve, that one was 0.15. That went in no problem, no adjustment there. On the exhaust side, or on the left side cam gear, or opposite of the cam gear side, we could slip in a 10, but we couldn't slip a 15 in there, and a 13 was okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go one shim size lower. So we're gonna adjust this valve, even though it's in spec. You should adjust it anyway, because it's gonna close up some more from now until the next. But this is good, because the last time I did this valve check, my intakes were loose, or my intakes were tight. I think 3 out of 4 were completely closed. So, but that was doing their first valve inspection. So right now we're going to do the rear. So exhaust 1 and exhaust 2. And it's going to be these 2 back ones. I already have my feeler gauges ready, 25 and 30. So let's go ahead and get started. You might not be able to see it, but I'll try to get you guys in there. So drop down. Okay. I'm just going to start off with the 2.5. Okay, 2.5 feels good. That 2.5 feels really good in there. Okay, let's try the 30. Wow. Okay, perfect. So 30 went right in, pretty smooth, very little bit of drag. So we only have one valve to adjust on this back cylinder. But the thing is, we're gonna have to remove the cams anyway. So to adjust that valve, I'm just going to write these down. So 0.30, 0.30. It's good. Okay, so now we're going to check the front. There's different ways to do it. You can adjust here, take the cams out, do all that stuff, put it all back together, seal it all up, then go with the front. What I'm gonna do is take both out. It's inside of the valve cover. So I'm gonna check. I'm gonna set the front cylinder to top dead center, and we'll check it there, record our findings, and then we'll adjust one at a time. Set it at top dead center, adjust. Set it top dead center, adjust. Okay. And at this point, I didn't lock the crank. I only locked the crank when it's time to remove the cams. Make sure that's loose. I hope you can see that. See those 2 dots lined up? It means we're at top dead center. And when I go to lock this in, what I'll do is I'll feel the notch on the flywheel and lock it in place, and the cams should line up. That's how you know you got true top dead center, just in case your motor jump time or whatever the case may be. See if we can get a 15, just for giggles. Okay, I can get a 15 here on the cam gear side intake valve. So so write down the measured. So we have intake. So we got 0.15. Okay, that went in pretty smoothly. So, okay, 0.10. I'll actually write that. So looks like we just need one shim size for the intake, one of the intakes, and the other one's good. So 0.25 and 0.30. Okay, it's a little tricky getting back in there. Might have to. Don't be afraid to bend these, they'll straighten out. Okay, 0.25, that went in pretty easily. Need to get in there a little better. Okay, so it took the 30. Okay, let's do the other one. Okay, 30. Okay, so cam gear side exhaust 0.30, we're golden. Same thing with the other side. So I don't know if you guys can still read this. Is pretty messy with the oil and everything. So 30 is top, 30 is top, 15 is top with the spec, 10. So we need to adjust. The intakes 10, inspect, not inspect, inspect, inspect. So just 2 intake valves for this one. And what I do is when I remove the cams, I record the shim size. So if it's a 200 and you need to adjust it, it's going to take a 195. Because 15 is top of the spec, so 15 minus 10 is 5. So that's going to be that's how you calculate it. So basically, you want to go bigger. As the valves wear, they close up, and you need that gap. You need that gap to open up. So you want a smaller shim size to make the gap bigger. So it looks like we're pulling 2 intake cams, one on the rear and one on the front. So we got the cam marked. So I'm going to take the cam chain tensioner out and then unbolt the cams. Okay, so I'm going to remove the I have my air horn in the way, but there's a 21mm plug right here that houses your cam chain tensioner. I already broke it loose. going to be tight because you're going to have the spring tension of a tensioner pushing against it, but once it comes out a little bit, it should be good. There's the plug, and then this will come in handy later. I'll show you what to do with that when we reinstall the tensioner. Right now the tensioner is flush, but once I should be able to get it should back itself out a little bit. There's some it's kind of stuck in there from the suction of the oil. Set those aside. Next we'll do the cam caps, which is a .5mm hex. Come off of it, man. Now with these hex bolts, you want to make sure it goes all the way down in there. Make sure, because sometimes there's oil in there and you only have it like a part of the way in. Okay, let's buzz it out. Cracked those previously, cracked those loose. Okay. Okay, see how much oil came out of there? Let's crack it loose. Crack it loose. That's right. Keep this stuff in order. Okay, forgot this tube needs to come out. so nice. Take the top off. Keep the cams in for now. It's a closer look at the part. Also, you have these jets also on the cam bridge. We'll clean those out too. Basically, you just stick a straw with some brake parts cleaner or carb cleaner, spray them out. I actually discovered one of them was clogged last year or a couple years ago when I did this. I have zip ties handy. Going to tie up the cam chain, that way it doesn't drop into the motor. Basically keep the engine, try to keep everything as much in time as possible. Okay. Just kind of angle this out. Just let it hang. I don't want too much slack on there because it'll come off that bottom gear. Actually, let's tighten this up. Okay. So when I install the cam, I'll just find that white mark on the chain, put it back in. Okay. Put this next clean place. Now we have our shims. The shims are going to be under these fingers. See if you can see that. And these things on the top, those are the shims. Those are what we need to replace. Here's the kit I have. It's a Hot Cams 10mm shim kit. So it has different sizes from 1.85 to 3.25. Comes with a little magnifying glass, and then all the sizes are here. So say for example, if you trip and fall. All these shims get scattered all across the floor. Each of them are marked. And if some of them are worn off, you just take a caliper, a digital caliper, measure them, put them back in their holes. Okay, removal. I hope you guys can see this. Lift up the finger follower, inspect it. These are hardened, these aren't plastic, these are actually like hardened metal. So lift it up, and they're magnetic. So get one of these little things. You do not want to drop this in your motor. Okay, my GoPro died, but I'm on my phone now. So we pulled the shim from the engine. And our measurement is 0.10. I don't know if you could read that, but the numbers have worn off. So what we're gonna have to do is take a digital caliper and measure it and find the next one size smaller shim, which is 0.5 minus 0.5. 0.05, sorry.